Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Sky Temple. And Sky Temple is a map that is pretty fun. It's got a simple objective, which you essentially just need to hold this zone while units spawn from these 4 pedestals and 1 large unit from this throne. And on this map, you hold this zone for as long as possible, and it fires off a bunch of rounds at the closest structure that is still alive in the front row, and when the front row is completely defeated, then it goes to the closest structure in the second row, and then finally after the closest structure in the second row is done, it will go for the core at the end of it. One temple at full shots will take out the core, which makes it a very, very valuable objective to get. However, can be kind of a challenging one to get because you are taking a lot of damage, as well as the enemies will probably try to invade. There are 3 objectives, one that is above top lane, one that is above middle lane, and one that is below bottom lane. The first time that it spawns, it goes middle, top. Second time, it goes just bot. Then it goes to, I don't remember what the third one is, but we'll see it in this game. And then it goes to top and bot afterwards. Those are the objectives. And on this map, there are also 4 camps available and a boss. So the boss is available mid lane, and then there are 2 siege camps off on the right and the left, and there are 2 bruiser camps off on the top right, top left. This is pretty good because if you look at it, there's nothing that really pushes directly through the middle lane. If you get these siege camps, they go down bottom lane. If you get the boss, it goes down bottom lane, which puts priority off of middle lane. So the only time you're really ever getting middle lane is if you get the middle objective, and that takes out middle lane. Getting the first objective middle will usually break the front towers, and it's nice to take out the fountain so you can win the next middle objective, which the next middle objective will either go for top or bot usually, which is pretty nice. So let's get this game started. What I will say as we're going is I'm going to explain some heroes that are good on this map, some strategies that you're going to want to go for. Usually we recommend drafting 1 global hero, as there's a variety of times where the objectives will be in one area and you can be soaking the completely different area, and it's such a large map, globals will get a lot of value. Having people who can rotate very easily is also good. D.Va can be kind of challenging because if you're fighting up top and your whole team mounts up and starts heading down, you may lose out on a lot of value because your team will get there much before you will get there. So I don't usually recommend D.Va, but it is something that happens. So either way, you can definitely play whoever you want to play. But just giving some warning, these objectives are pretty close to fountains, so I recommend you don't need to have people that can last a long time, but you will have opportunities where these objectives will last a long time, so getting fountains is nice. Also playing healers like Malfurion who can heal over time is really nice. Because of the amount of camps that are available on this map, being 4 different camps as well as having a boss available, and having really large waves and large lanes, I recommend playing people who can do camps and waves easily, like Ragnaros, Jaina, and a variety of others that are pretty good at that. Kilthos is really good at that too. So just different heroes like that. In this case, I ended up playing Jaina because I just knew I could do camps easy and I knew I could clear waves easily. Having someone in each lane is extremely important because being able to win the first objective, because the objective destroys structures, it's going to give you a large experience lead. So if you can have a large experience lead to begin with, that allows you to win the first objective, and the first objective gives you a larger experience lead, which allows you to win fights and more objectives. So this map can get a little snowbally at times, which is why it's really nice to be able to stay ahead. If you do find yourself behind, what you should do is you should do something called trading. Now, trading is a little bit different than these little engages right here, which are often called trades, where you quickly do your abilities to the other laner and just get off some quick damage. Trading in the case of Sky Temple is all about one team grabbing one and the other team grabbing another one. So, if you feel like you're behind and you don't think you're going to be able to win a fight, then the enemies would have to split up to take both of these objectives. So instead, what happens is you grab one objective and the enemies grab another objective. And if they try to fight, you're going to have 5 people on an objective and they're not going to be able to fight you. If you find that you're ahead, you should do something a little bit different, where you constantly are rotating between them, trying to find where the enemies are and take them out, because then you have a higher chance of getting both objectives. This only works when the objectives are positioned closer to each other as opposed to the top-bottom. If you're ever in the position where there's an objective top and there's an objective bottom, don't go for both of them unless you have a global that can maybe fight or hold one, and then you could fight with 4v4 here or 4v5 here and have your global join you later. Only do that if you're really far ahead. Otherwise, just simply trade and send maybe 2 people to get this and the other group of people to get maybe camps or other objectives. As we can see here, we may end up having the Dahaka go bottom lane. We'll see what we end up doing, but we may have the Dahaka go bottom lane, as you normally want a global to be sitting in a lane that you're not in. However, it is still okay to have a Jaina in this lane because Jaina can do camps and objectives, or camps and waves very easily. We're going to speed up until the objective spawns and kind of show a little bit how this goes. Jaina's going to be doing the camp over here as a distraction, as our team will be able to get out alive or maybe alive? Okay. Team was able to get out alive. So, no one's going for an objective yet, and the reason why is because it'll show you really where everyone is. So everyone just needs to play safe. They need to reset, get health, and then they can choose to go back into it later. So as of right now, all we're doing is we're pretty much just getting some objectives ready. We're getting the enemies distracted. So you can see that with this camp here, they're going to be distracted. Dahaka can go up for this objective, and we're probably just going to go for a full trade, which means that we're going to go up top, try to help out as much as possible, and then we can go for the other valuable things later. But you can see we're getting value down here, and we're forcing Tychus down here, so we can definitely win, get one objective up here. We'll lose the objective that's middle, but we still are staying in this game pretty well and still getting a lot of value off. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. These are the times where you don't need 5 people to be on an objective at one time. So a lot of times, if there's not a fight going on, you want to send people off to go do camps. In this case, there is a fight going on, so we are trying to fight. They don't have Tychus, so this is a very good fight for us. Usually you want to leave someone like Malfurion on the objective, because then Malfurion can sit there, they could throw heals out to everyone, and then just simply sit on the objective while everyone's still getting heals from Malfurion. We decided to leave Jaina on the objective just because she was at full health. I mean, I'm Jaina, I'm not speaking in third person, but Jaina was at full health, so we just let her take all the hits. And then we decided to go for a camp just because there's not going to be an objective anytime soon. Oh, maybe we don't do that. You can, right after objectives, you can go for camps just to keep the enemies where you want them to be. And then you can go for doing other things. It looks like in this case, I was simply going for the soak. And I immediately back. And my reason for backing is because when you're low mana, you don't want to sit in lane with low mana because all you're doing is wasting time. We already have people to hold off lanes and to get experience. So there's no point in me having no mana and going into lane. So in this case, I can go and I can approach one of these camps. And in this case, I approach this camp. I see Muradin there. I see Alarak there. I ping a couple times. And again, getting these camps is pretty good, but there's another value about getting these camps later, and that is the fact that the next objective is going to be spawning bottom and bottom alone. Because this objective pushes top lane, sometimes it's best to hold off on this objective and get it later. In this case, we want to get it because the enemies keep trying to play so aggressively in getting it. We don't know if they're trying to go for it. So we decided to just clear it and worry about it later. Jaina clears camps really fast, so again, I really like getting Jaina for that. The next objective still hasn't even timed out or popped up yet, so we need to really plan out what we're doing because we are behind in levels. So you can see I take a very experience-heavy approach where I start going and just getting experience. I probably am going to die here. Yeah, definitely dying there. Play way too aggressive. But everyone should be soaking. As you can see, this is where you get a lot of value off of the global. They need to send someone up here to stop Dahaka, or Dahaka gets an entire fort. But Dahaka can also join our fight whenever we want him to, which makes it to where we get a lot of damage off on a fort, and we can still win the objective. I think he probably left a little too early. He probably could have taken the entire fort, as we are simply giving the objective. Let me speed up a little bit more. You can see they try to invade, and I simply back off. I'm too low. Our entire team backs off. Right now, blue team is getting a lot of value in this game, and this is where it's going to be very challenging for us to come back. But the great part about Sky Temple is while it is a little snowbally, all you really have to do is trade one of these objectives and start gaining some momentum. And once you get a little bit of momentum, it's pretty easy to come back. but I'm not going to say it's as easy to come back as something like Towers of Doom. It still is a map that it's the more experience you get, the easier objectives are. The more objectives you get, the more experience you get. So it can be definitely challenging. We're going to have to really focus on getting to level 13, getting our talent tiers, and possibly seeing if we can get a couple kills turning into a boss. And another great part about this map is that there is a lot of areas where there are throw potential. The boss itself can be throw potential if they try it too early, as well as bottom lane, there's this clustered area, which if you try to fight under that against someone like a Jaina, then you could have a really, really rough time. So we position, we're just trying to get level 13 before this objective, but likely we're going to be trading the objectives. So we are positioning top and leaving our solo laner bot. He can soak and join us at any point. This is what I'm talking about trading. If you are behind in experience, you should trade, and you should pick which one you want to trade for. In this case, we traded for top lane as it's going to be the one that's most likely going to get us experience immediately. If we go bottom lane, it'll likely destroy a tower, possibly 2, but if the enemies were to invade, we might not get level 13 before the invasion. So we're going for top lane so that we can get the experience before the invasion. Let's speed this up just a little bit. You can see us fighting a little bit. Again, you normally want Malfurion to go back and get this. We do have the global. We have 4 here. They have 2 bottom. As long as Dahaka joins us, we should win this fight very easily. What a Ring of Frost. Nice job, Jaina. You see, I'm Jaina, so I can make fun of myself. Pretty good fight. I mean, it's a little awkward for us, but we were able to pick off a couple people with Valeera, as well as we were able to zone them out. They get all of bottom lane, but we do get a kill out of this, likely a second kill, and we do get the full objective from this as well. As you can see, I change who I'm attacking to the smaller minions, as the smaller minions die faster, and it's a lot easier to survive. If you happen to be a healer that you're worrying about trying to hold this base for a long period of time, what's best is to kill off the ranged minions first, as the big minion has way too much health and doesn't do as much damage as these ranged minions. We got the full objective, and now we don't need to be here anymore, but we are still doing a pretty good fight, as D.Va is bottom lane. And D.Va's a hero that's very difficult to get from lane to lane, so she has a lot of trouble with, you can see, it takes her a long time, so there's no point for her to try to join our fight. So we end up doing really well and taking out the enemies. With 3 enemies dead, this is the time where you normally want to go for boss. And actually 4 enemies dead, now you definitely want to go to boss. Boss on this map, and again, we were behind this whole game. We're still behind in experience, and this is all it takes for you to take this game and get a lot of value. So we ping and we call out boss, and with Jaina, you can do it very quickly as she gets reduced cooldown of her Q every time that she hits something that's chilled, as well as her W is constantly doing damage because the boss isn't trying to dodge her W. Allowing Jaina to quickly down the boss. You can see the health of the boss is going down very fast. And the enemies still don't have their tank, they don't have their damage, there's no way that they can contest. And this boss, if we were to push with it, we could get the fort and the front walls if we wanted to, which is likely what we should do. I don't think that's what we do. Jaina, again, you can see the speed that Jaina does camps, and if you're not doing camps this fast with Jaina, you definitely should be adjusting your Jaina playstyle, because that's how fast you can do it. I think all in all, it took me about 5 seconds. And you can see they even sent a couple people over here and couldn't get their camp done in time. We could say to defend that, but at the same time, it's nice to just get some other damage off. The only objective that's spawning is spawning top lane, which we can make a few decisions here. Most of the enemies are bot. I would actually prefer you, because you know where the enemies are going to be. It might be nice to hide in a bush and wait for them to rotate up. However, that's more of a team league strategy and something that you may do later. So again, just to cover some of the strategies that you can do on this map, when you're behind, go for trades. When you're ahead, you're going to try to go for rotations and get kills in multiple areas. And utilize, every time you get 2 to 3 kills, go for a boss, go for camps, get a lot of value. If you're playing people with wave clear, you can see that it's very hard for the enemies to get value, because you can simply clear the waves so fast and clear camps so fast, and then rejoin your team, and it's not really a worry at all. So playing people with a lot of wave clear, playing one person with a global, as well as a decent amount of survivability in these fights, because these fights can last a long time. See, just split up the enemies with a ring, then finish off Muradin. missing my Q. You know, the usual. Popping Icy Veins, just for doing a ridiculous amount of damage with Icy Veins. Yep, and so if you're ahead, you always want to fight on objectives. If you're behind, it can be rough to fight on objectives because you'll probably lose on objectives. So instead, there's so many camps on this map that, say for instance, they made a different decision and they wanted to, instead of getting this objective, they could go and get this camp. And then we would have to deal with two camps here because they already had this camp. If they would have just walked by, gotten vision, and gotten this camp, they would have been able to get both as we were taking all of our time trying to defend. So they could have pushed with two camps up top, forcing us to split up and then taken the objective. This map is really fun because there is so many different things you can do, even when you're behind, that it just makes it as a pretty balanced map in general. But the strategies of this map usually come down to drafting people who can get from lane to lane easily, as well as people with a lot of wave clear. As long as you can do that, you're pretty good. One of my favorite heroes for this map is Ragnaros, as during these objectives you can simply lava wave and then it pushes an area and kind of forces the enemy to split up. But it's not something that you always need to do. It's just one of my favorite heroes for this map. You can play aggressively and hide in bushes if camps are about to spawn. For in this case, a camp was about to spawn. We figured if they were going to come in, it would be from either this direction, or this direction, making it easy for us to pick one area to hide in. Now, it was good because Tychus ended up watching out for that, and they used a Diva Bomb to clear it up quickly, but we still invaded and took their camp, so now we can get our camp if we want to. The next objective is going to be above mid and below bot, so we will be trying to prepare for that. But the interesting thing about that is we need to decide which one we want and which one's more important to us. If we get the full one bot, we can almost get a bottom keep, which means that they will be distracted by this lane the entire game. So bot is probably more valuable to us, but what would we lose if we gave up mid lane? We have full health towers on both top and bot, so we likely won't lose anything, but it'll put them in the same position. So, do we value, essentially, if we trade this objective right here, we need to value which one is going to get us closer to winning the game. Or we can take the route of finding them and killing them because we're 3 levels ahead. So we could take the objective in a more aggressive route by simply finding them and killing them and forcing fights earlier than level 20. Which is what we decide to do. We force fights earlier, and now, with them dead, we can go for multiple objectives the next time that it spawns. We could go for a keep here. There's 4 people down. That's probably going to be our best bet. We don't even need to wait for an objective. This is also something that people don't often do on Towers of Doom, or sorry, not Towers of Doom, on Sky Temple, is people put too much value on the objective sometimes when just you and your buddies could go through and take out a keep without needing to actually get an objective. Don't forget to actually sit in bushes and prepare. Like, the enemies, you know where they're going to go. For example, like, we knew the only option that they could get, the only thing that was available on the map was this camp right here. So you want to get things like that. In this case, it's the same way. There's 2 objectives available. So we could go for both of those objectives. In this case, we want Dahaka to go for this objective, and we want all the rest of us to go for this one. I noticed that we already have someone sitting on this objective, so I decide, you know what? I'm going to go for a camp instead. Because you don't need more than one person sitting on these objectives. We have Dahaka here who can leave whenever he wants to. We have one person here who can already get this objective whenever he wants to. So what should we be doing in this scenario? We should be getting extra camps. So I will go get this one, and Valera could be getting this one if Valera wanted to. So if you see, I can get this camp very quickly. I'm Jaina. I decided to go a different route because I didn't want to get revealed by any minions that were spawning right there. So I go over here. And as Jaina, watch how fast I do this camp. I don't know. We're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 seconds, right? So we get this camp here. We knew where the enemies were because we knew that they were going to go bot lane to try to stop one of us. So I could get this camp easily. Valera could have gotten this camp, which would have taken Tychus longer to get to our team, and we would have been able to group up and possibly done something to assist our team later. Instead, I get that camp, I walk away. With mid, we ended up getting this mid keep, and we don't lose too much bottom lane from this one. We'll lose our fountain and a little bit of damage on our keep. But overall, We didn't lose very much, and if you can see this, we're forcing D.Va to be here. We're forcing Tychus to be down here. So despite the fact that we lost 2 people for a little while there, we're forcing the enemies to be in positions that they don't want to be in. This is a very risky boss. We're still down to Haka, as well as they're up all 5 of their people. The main benefit that we have in this fight is that we are above level 20, they're below level 20, and D.Va would take like an hour to get to us. So the camp that I got is one of the main reasons why we're allowed to do this boss here. So valuing the camps and the keeps higher than the objectives isn't something that you really want to do. However, the camps and the keeps should be something that are not forgotten because they are extremely valuable. Missing Qs, you know, as you do as Jaina. But we can go and finish off the boss now that they're missing their healer, as well as they do have their damage here available now, but they're missing 3 people, so it should be a pretty easy boss for us. One thing that we do need to worry about, though, is the bomb, so we needed to trigger her bomb earlier, and now we can do the boss safely without her having to worry about the bomb. We get the boss, we take the boss, and we go and win the game. We don't even need to win with an objective. We simply just win by bringing the boss to the end. Something MVP, NotParadox, just saying. Alright, thanks so much for watching, guys. That is the Sky Temple guide, and if you have any questions, throw it in the comments below.